In the United States, a statue was on display and was viewed by a selected few to honor and give homage to Satan. It caused uproar and fury and created a religious agitation. But where does this half-goat, half-human image come from? It can be traced to ancient Egypt and other cultures incorporated into their belief system. In London's Knightsbridge, by the Edinburgh Gate on the south side of Hyde Park, is a statue of Pan, the half-goat, half-human deity from ancient Greece. And inside St. Peter's Basilica in Vatican City is an image of the head of Pan, this nature deity, engraved into the wall. The 5th century BC Greek historian Herodotus was well travelled and collated data from different cultures in Europe, Asia, and Africa. And he knew that the half-goat, half-human deity went back to the earliest of times, and succeeding cultures just learned from the previous ones. Herodotus records and said that the names of nearly all the gods came to Greece from Egypt. In Egypt, Pan is very ancient and one of the 8 gods who existed before the rest. Certain Egyptians, the Mendicians, hold all goats in veneration. Amun is the ancient Egyptian name for Zeus. The Ethiopians are said to be the tallest and best looking people in the world and the longest lived. A big city named Meroe is said to be the capital city of the Ethiopians. The inhabitants worship Zeus, or Amun. There is an oracle of Zeus there, and they make war according to its pronouncements, taking from it both the occasion and the object of various expeditions. On the official website of the United Nations Education, Scientific and Cultural Organization, better known as UNESCO, it has verified what Herodotus said in his historical account. Since antiquity, the hill of Gebel Barkal has been strongly associated with religious traditions. The Egyptians believed that their state god Amun resided in this holy mountain. The pyramids, palaces, temples, burial chambers and funerary chapels of Gebel Barkal and the sites of the Nepal region and their related relief, writings and painted scenes on walls represent a masterpiece of creative genius, demonstrating the artistic, social, political and religious values of a human group for more than 2,000 years. The corbel vaults of the tombs of Kuru constitute a new building technique which influenced Mediterranean architecture from the 7th century BC onwards. In terms of their architecture, the sites of the Nepal region testify to the revival of a once almost universal religion and related language, the Egyptian old script and the worship of the state god Amun. The goat seemed to also hold a high place in the earliest times in ancient Babylon, and from Babylon to modern times, the goat is still consulted via the astrological gods Aries and Capricorn. But it was the black Africans who the ancients called Kushites, Ethiopians or Nubians who took goat worship to a whole new level. When you read through the historians and writers in the Greco-Roman world such as Herodotus, Homer, Eusebius, Strabo, Diodorus Siculus and Flavius Josephus, and analyze what they say along the data of UNESCO, it is clear that ancient Egypt inherited its entire culture from the blacks in the south in the Sudan, from its religion to its alphabetic script, and the Mediterranean culture too in southern Europe was also influenced by the blacks in the Sudan. In Gebel Barkal in modern-day Sudan, which was ancient Kush, Nubia, is found the ancient temple of Amun. This ancient structure is guarded by goats before you enter into the temple, and it is quite clear that Herodotus' records of the past was totally accurate. But though the kingdom of Kush had a high culture stretching back to antiquity, once a part of a universal religion, worshipping a goat is pagan idolatry, where these Kushites worshipped and served the creature more than the creator. And though this black African kingdom is long gone, its influence is still being felt. This golden earring was excavated from the site of ancient Kush, modern-day Sudan, and it is in the shape of a goat with two serpents on its forehead. And this goat worship from the Kushites has now become the official insignia of the occult and Satanism in the West, which is growing. The late Anton Zander Levay took the goat as his official insignia when he founded the Church of Satan in 1966. And modern culture has used this symbol as an outright rebellion against God, especially in popular music, where influential artists in the pop rock culture have been vehicles in promoting this goat worship culture to the youth. It was the 19th century French occult author and ceremonial magician Eliphas Levi who, preceding Anton LaVey, reintroduced the half-human, half-goat deity Bahamut from Egypt in his 1856 book, Transcendental Magic. This has inspired an occult revival where Alexandrian Egyptian rituals have been incorporated into the religion of Wicca in Northern Europe, especially in England, where men wear the goat mask in a revival of the pagan culture of Egypt. But the man who really revived Egyptology as an occult practice was a heroin addict and occultist, Aleister Crowley, who incorporated Egyptian philosophy in his dark, nihilistic, satanic movement. Bookshops in the UK still house his works to continue his school of idolatry, and he still influences many of the popular artists in the music industry. But this has also inspired many in the black community to go back to a culture which declined as a result of its pagan idolatry. Question: would you really want to fall prostrate on your knees and pray or give homage to the phallus of Osiris as the ancient Egyptians once did? And in this study, even at the doors, we'll challenge some unanswered questions. Is the Ten Commandments really a plagiarized edition of the 42 principles or laws of Ma'at of Egypt? And is Psalms 104 in the Old Testament of the Bible really stolen from the hymn to the sun god that was written by the 14th century BC Egyptian pharaoh Akhenaten? We shall find out in this up-and-coming study called Black Consciousness versus Christ's Righteousness.